As I mentioned, most of the majority of the supplier will end with the supplier registration. As long as the supplier is registered, they're okay with that. There are certain clients or customers, they wish to go for a qualification where they're maintaining huge number of commodity managers or category managers are there. So they will be validating or qualifying the suppliers for particular region, commodity, or a department purpose. So that's what we're going to see now. So let's go to the Ariba screen. So let me start from the home page. Okay, let's manage supplier management. So whatever the activity we are doing for particular supplier, we will be driving through this supplier 360 profile only. So either I can directly search in here or with the tabs which are there as statuses. With that way also we can able to do that. It's loading. Okay, I will be searching Ariba seller. Okay, Ariba seller. I think one more person need to join. I don't know. So anyway, it's 8-4. Okay. So under qualification, we can see process qualification and legacy qualification. Earlier, whatever the standard practice is only legacy qualification. In that case, we can simply click on and do the qualification. Process qualification is a new process where it is a combined activity where you can able to qualify and also do the performance management, or some other questions also can be combined into this level. Let's see with the legacy qualification if we can able to apply. Okay, process type. Again, even when I selected legacy also, it is not accepting. As soon as this qualification process has been enabled, the new method only will be selected. Out of this process qualification, you can also combine. So whether you want to do partial qualification, pre-qualification, qualification advanced, primary, depending upon your requirement, we can able to take the necessary qualifications. Let's take partial qualification. Need to be initiator group. Second, pre-qualification. Okay, I do not have the first one, so I'm be taking pre-qualification. As soon as I selected a process type, it is asking for which commodity code and which region. So here we are not using the department. That is an additional functionality. In standard, it is always commodity and region based. You are doing qualification. So for which commodity code I am doing, let's select the commodity code. Let's expand the all commodity codes. Let's go to. Can we find some IT related? Anyway, let's take financial and insurance services. Under financial accounting and auditing.
Yeah, so normally while registering the vendor, vendor will be providing the commodity codes and regions to which region they will be providing that. So
Correct.
here while we are qualifying, will that won't take that automatically from the vendor?
That's very good question. So there are two level of authentications or controls are there. One is the supplier, he's selecting what commodity codes he can supply. So that is completely on the supplier side only. That is for the visibility purpose. Wherever in the marketplace, when someone is searching, they will be searching by that commodity codes. Whatever this activity which we are currently doing, this is from the buyer side. Even we do not care whether he has selected this commodity or not. As long as he is supplying this particular commodity, we can control this one. There is no hard stop, or there is no linkage between what we are selecting and what he has selected. That is purely profile based only. There is no restrictions available on that.
Okay. Thanks.
Even if that is at high level, because we don't want to interfere with the supplier's maintenance. Maybe he has not disclosed. For example, he is also part of a credit agency, but he not disclosed that information in the public service, in the public domain that time. So that is how you will not be restricting that. There is no linkage between these two combinations.
Yeah. Okay.
Generally, the commodity managers in your company, they will be knowing, for example, I am taking Ariba supplier. So for testing purpose, since we do not know, we are randomly selecting it. They will be knowing for which commodity particularly they are doing. So they will be selecting that particular commodity and they will be processing the qualification. Let's take maybe furniture and savings instead of that accounting. Let's select next. I'll be taking full furnishing and furniture and furnishings, including all the other commodity codes. And region, I will be doing only for, let's say, Austria region. Click on next. So at this stage, commodity code, some commodity managers confirming the supplier for these two categories only. So he will not be qualifying for any other, any other region or something. So suppose if someone is purchasing from in other than Austria region, then this qualification is not valid. Okay, now here, that by default, as soon as I select these two, automatically certain questions have been added. If you want to remove, I don't think, unless you are ineligible, by default, these questionnaires will be sent to the supplier for getting the relevant answers. Apart from that, optional ones, if you want to select, you can select. There are about how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 questionnaires will be sent to the supplier. By clicking on next, here you can decide what kind of questionnaires. This is external questionnaire. That means the supplier has to enter. Qualification internal MQ. This is internal questionnaire. That means internal department has to enter the values. So I'll be entering all the majority as external. Okay. Anyway, so by testing purpose, many people have added some like gaming PC, cars, and SM test. These are all unnecessary. But let's see what is there in cars. This requisition, this questionnaire should be available when someone selects a commodity code related to oil and cars. So when I select car, it is asking which engine oil and how much quantity. For the testing purpose, some people might have created all these things, and you can enter some message to the supplier for providing. So we are validating the commodity region qualifications. So please submit the questionnaire. Complete the questionnaire. Something like that. Any random message you can send. And if you want to change the recipient, for example, in internal, you can change this recipient. So here, by default, these are all your end users or your users available in your company code. So you can select them and you can send it to. Let me say buyer 7 if it is there. Buyer 7. So those email addresses are not there. In real time, we will be having email address. For example, Ariba buyer 22. If you're sending, he will be receiving an email. So I'll just cancel it. Let it be having a default recipient. Ariba seller will be the primary contact. So send. By selecting OK, you're creating this process for Ariba seller and the recipient will receive your questionnaire assignments. So is it clear? So basically, whatever the steps are clear only, but we'll be starting the process and that has to be completed by either external or internal people. Once that is completed, then he will be qualified or the process has been completed. For example, in the registration, If he complete these steps, he will be qualified registered supplier. Once we do the qualification, if it is completed, he will be doing the qualification. Now we have done this activity for particular reason. Suppose some other supplier or some other department want to validate the supplier. For example, India purchasing department, they have validated the supplier and found that he is also good to supply our products for our company. Then what they will do, they will also again they will do one more plus and add the commodity and region as India, and he will process. So once this is validated, this supplier is qualified for that particular commodity code and mapping. So we can do like this in number of combinations. So again, I'll be selecting the same pre-qualification. Let's select some other thing if it is allowing, just for testing purpose. There is no process available for this qualification advanced, qualification primary. There is no process template created. Then let's select test audit. That also it is not there. They just create, but it is not having working. So I will be selecting pre-qualification. Now I will be doing for India region for all commodities. Commodity, I will be selecting all commodities. So there is no restriction for him, and I will be doing him for India region. Click on next. Click on next. Same way, you can enter some message. Click on send.
Yes, and just here we have this external and internal things, right, in the questionnaire part. So
Correct.
external means whenever we are sending this, submitting to vendor and supplier will be answering to the question. And
Correct.
internal purpose, like our side, we need to answer that. So we are getting answers from supplier.
No.
Or how it will be.
That could be either way. Suppose you do not want certain questionnaires from internal. Generally, what kind of when you are doing a qualification, you are finding from internal team, like procurement team or a material receiving team. What you will do, you will add a questionnaire in the way that whether the supplier delivered the products on time. That is a one questionnaire. And second, whether the quality of his goods are as per the requirement. Second, whether he is asking any advance payment, whether he is providing good credit terms. So this information either you can split between purchasing department or finance department, whatever you want to validate this particular qualification. So why we are doing this qualification? Whether we are going to make him a good supplier for us. So we are validating certain information from him. It's like we are asking ISO certification does he have. That he has to provided by the supplier. Whether he is having technical specification, GST registration, and how long he is in the business, what is his capital. All these questions which we will not be knowing internally, that will be asked with the external questionnaire. Whatever internally within our department we want to find out from the history, whether the supplier has supplied good quality of material, whatever the terms agreed is working, whether delivery times have been reached, how his performance over a period. All these things will be known by relevant internal teams. So we are circulating this questionnaire to the internal to get the qualification. Once this is done, during the approval, he will validate. For example, there is a question which mentioned that supplier is providing 30 days credit terms or not. When the finance department says that, no, he is asking for an immediate payment term. So in this case, we will not qualify him. Either you will consider him for asking more from the questionnaire, whether you will be providing or you agreed for this, why you are not doing this thing and all. So this will give a chance for him. So before he approving it, he will validate it. Then if he approves it, he will communicate same to the people and then he will approve so that next time. So the main advantage is during in downstream procurement. So whenever certain user is entering the item related to the supplier, the preference supplier will be shown as a Ariba seller. So he will be shown as a preferred supplier. So he will be getting more business. So that is the reason even the sellers are interested to get qualifications done so that he will be shown as a preferred supplier and they will be getting more business.
Oh, okay, Sanjay. So, like, and while we are submitting it to supplier, right? So, if you want this to be transferred to purchasing department or some other department, so we need to enter their email ID or DL
Yes, yes,
so that
yes, yes, we need to enter. Here you can select the change recipient, or when we are creating this external registration in the template level, we'll be giving by default whom it has to go. So we don't need to manually enter that information at that time. If you want to change that, so before I'm submitting a request, you could see the change recipient. There you will be entering the relevant person.
yes, yes, sir. So, therefore, if we submit this one, buyer task will completed. Thereafter, the purchasing department and the supplier task will begin, and there won't be
Correct.
any intervention from buyer side.
Exactly.
Okay, okay,
Yes.
sir.
Even majority of the cases, this is not buyer activity. Mostly there is a category managers. So they are again part of a procurement, but their roles will be mostly communicating with the vendors only, vendor development activities, vendor management. All these things will be done by category managers. So they will be performing this activity. They will be
Oh,
assigning certain questionnaires only to the buyer. Even buyer generally they don't do with these qualifications.
okay, sir. Sanjay, I have one doubt. So,
Yeah.
like, our project is working on SAP as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, we do have one request coming
Mm.
internally. So,
Mm.
what they're saying is like our ERP is SAP. Here, Ariba
Mm.
to
Mm.
SAP, the data provider. So what happens is, so for country wise, like we are going to store the tax code, like vendor tax code, right,
Mm.
somewhere
Mm.
in SAP. So what happened is, it's not like the same. We do have six tax fields in SAP,
Mm.
but each country only using the same tax field.
Correct.
One
Mm.
country might be using tax number one will be tax number two, like that. So it
Mm.
depends on the length. Ariba team has to, while onboarding a supplier or while updating the historical vendor, which was already created. So Ariba team needs to have new fields based on the length of the tax number. Because for one of the country, when we validated, it has
Mm.
three different combination. So what we suggested is based on the field length. It's like maximum. This is the length, right? So based on the field length, it should fetch that. This field to be updated with the tax number, so that field value
Okay.
will be flew to SAP. So what
Okay.
Ariba team is saying is they will be like updating the form, like vendor's form, according to the country. So, is there any possibility, like, is it something like that, Sanjay? Because
Yeah.
they're
Yeah. So
saying
yeah, I
country
know.
wise
So
they will
so
be.
yeah. 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 So you can do two things. One is by what is the default based on particular country. When someone selects a country during taxation, based on that country, it will filter and it will show only the taxes relevant to that particular country only. From that, they will be selecting. If you're asking one more where they're asking a tax identification number and the format where they are entering is not correct, or if it is misleading, maybe if we have a restriction of 20, they need to exclude prefix or suffix. In that case, that entry details will be passed on to the FI when they are processing the invoices only, because that is a restriction, or you need to find out a field where it can accept both the combinations. That is a limitation, then that is assigned to FI team to manage. There are two issues. So one is by doing filterization based on country code, automatically the relevant tax codes will be visible. That is available in your tax manager lookup files. In that, whatever you're maintaining again is that particular region mapping. Whenever invoice is submitted, it will select the region from which it is picking, and it will show him the available tax. For example, when the user select America, it will only show VAT and GST only. If they're selecting India, then it will give you
GST.
Indian CGST and GST codes. Okay, that we will talk when we're doing invoices and taxes. That time we can know where we are maintaining the default regions.
Yeah, yeah. Thanks, Sanjay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So this is the same process. Now let's go to some supplier management and see qualifications done for other suppliers, because it will take longer time and the process remains same. So instead of spending time, we'll see other suppliers who have performed qualifications. So go to supplier management. qualifications. So Ariba seller, now he's failed but retrain. So it's not completed. It is in on one. This one is in creation. So the second one, maybe the relevant template is not available. It is doing a retry, and once it is done, it will be in creation. And the second one will be once as soon as the supplier clicks on, then the qualification will start and it will be in progress. So in approval, I'm taking one. He exposed head some supplier name. He's been category all, region also all in approval. Click on view. Okay. So go to preferred. You can see he has been qualified for tier 2 and approved status, and one is pending approval. Go to the qualifications. So he has primary qualification type, SM process for workflow template. Under here, his region is Alberta, and in Alberta only, business is production. The status is qualified. It is in progress. Who has done buy rate and effective date, expiry date. These qualifications have been done. Now, which is in pending. So qualification in progress. Let's see this one. Click on view. Not responded. 8 buyer. Approved, not responded. So let's select this questionnaire. Tell me where it is being displayed. Is it displayed? And say these questions people request update. Whether it is internal or external.
I feel it's external somewhere because it is asking for request update.
So then they change the buyer wrongly. That is the reason 8 buyer 8. So it's a mail. Where did you see?
Here, request update after questionnaire details. Right to that side, we have request update.
If you want to see, this is at the template level we can see. So going to the task, documents. This is what not created. Click on open. Actually, that was not built correctly. So that is the reason it will not be able to complete. That is not processed clearly. Yeah, survey. So once the supplier has put the values, then we will be seeing the responses. See, this is what actions. Let's act as a participant. Yeah, it is the external questionnaire only. Okay, tell me where it is displayed. Test. Is it supplier requested for yes? But we do not have this. That is correct only. It was sent to the external supplier. Supplier has to fill this event. But as a buyer, I can see how the supplier will be looking like this. So when he logging into the supplier and he has to enter these values, whatever the value which is requested, then he will be clicking that submit enter button. We'll also monitor the questionnaires we received at the buyer side. Let me log in into the buyer portal just to see questionnaires received from the previous one which I have sent.
Okay.
Okay, now I'll be showing you Firefox folder. I'm opening another browser. Let's see here, supplier.com. You don't need any URL when you want to logging into the supplier site.
Okay.
Supplier.ariba.com. But for buyer side, you need a link. Without that URL, you will not able to logging into the buyer side. But for supplier, he don't need. It is how he's expecting, he's logging into the supply network. Similarly, we will also have buyer network. That also we don't need buyer.ariba.com is more than enough. But we need to have credentials.
Okay.
So the supplier Ariba. So since it is a new one, it is asking who am I? So I'll be selecting this as a business owner. Click on submit. If you remember, yesterday I was saying what is a standard account, what is an enterprise account. So Ariba will always tell you to get into this account so that they will get more revenue. So the standard account is a free, enterprise account needs to be amount based. So you need to, when you're clicking this one, it will tell you the package, what it will cost and all. If you're okay with this, you can able to continue as an enterprise account and you will be getting the benefits of doing an invoicing in your Ariba itself. So as you people know, we have to log in into Ariba propose. Sorry, we need to select Ariba propose and questionnaire to respond to our customers' questionnaire requirements. Maybe RFPs or any questionnaires which is requesting, that will be under proposals and questionnaire. So Madam Curie is the client. If you are having multiple clients, the client names will be displayed here. By selecting that particular client, whatever the client's related questionnaires will be visible.
Okay, sir.
Loading. Okay, so there is one external supplier questionnaire has been came and there are certain questionnaires also came. So let's select registration questionnaire. Oh, this is one is, yeah, you can see the status is registered. If you want to edit, you can still open this and you can edit and respond before the time end. So someone has put the time as 6106. So questionnaire, there are 4 questionnaires that have been asked and this is a qualification questionnaire. You can see the commodity and reason. When I'm selecting this commodity, I will be satisfying for all these regions. So as a supplier, so when I'm selecting the supplier modular questionnaire, so user ISO certified, no, submit entire response. So like this, we will be completing one questionnaire. Okay, so this is as a supplier, maybe you can practice. So you can send multiple questionnaires and do the practice and all. Let's go back to the Ariba buyer side
Yes, sir.
in preview. Go back, click on home page. So qualification is this. That's what now we are trying to give a preferred supplier. Once supplier completes this one, either you can prefer that supplier. Let's take Vivek Consultancy. Go to the preferred supplier. You can again preferred supplier, but doing a preferred supplier, whatever the qualification, you should be having that qualification. Without that qualification, you will not be able to. For example, during qualification, he has qualified for India region. So you cannot prefer him for maybe Europe region. That is not possible. Wherever you have done a qualification, within those limits only, you can able to make him preferred supplier.
Yes, Sanjay, if at all, if it is the vendor is called for the India region, and it's like partially it can be onboarded that we can onboard the vendor, like creating the PO to the vendor for the India region. Okay. So if at all, if we want to create any PO outside India, like how that check will be for that particular vendor,
Yeah,
and
suppliers
can you
here
check?
is global suppliers only. So as soon as you create a supplier, you have a relationship established, the PO will go. The next process of sending a commodity code and all the that required licenses. So for PO sending and all, as soon as you establish a connection, that is fine. So in order to receive, you need to have an import license also. Unless it is a small quantity or small volume where you can able to do the custom clearance, that you can do that. But when you're doing a bulk quantities or bulk this thing, then you also need a import license to get tax advantage. So if you are doing otherwise, if you are not doing, you have to pay full custom duty and get the clearance done, and you will be receiving that material. In order to get some benefits, suppose you are importing for an export purpose, then you will be needing an import license so that you can that is, I don't know the naming. So you can take tax credit or something, the duty credit or something. So that can be used when you're doing an export time. So the balance only will be remaining and you will be paying it. So this particular supplier. So is it the does did I answer your question?
Yes, yes, Sanjay.
Yeah. So in the preferred supplier, he has been India region and he has been approved. Sorry, qualification. I could not see his qualification either. Preferred qualification not started. He was directly preferred. Okay, we will do a directly trying a preferred supplier. The same way we want to generally when the process completes and qualification you can do, or you can also prepare him by directly loading in the master data by adding this vendor code. You can able to do that also. Like let me select certain region because it is the process is not started through this process qualification. I am not able to select any region from here. Otherwise, we will be able to select this region since previous process is not completed through Ariba interface or SLP module. We will not able to see it. Was so this preferred supplier qualification came directly through a update that we are going to see. Let's go back to dashboard, and I want to show you one more disqualification. So whoever you have pre-qualified, you can do the disqualification also by selecting that particular vendor and do this disqualification. So with this, these are all the SLP process: supplier request, registration, qualification, preferring, and disqualification. So the next topic will be how we are going to do this direct update, and wherever you can do that. I'm just going to explain. So when you go to suppliers,
Sanjay, sorry, one question.
yeah,
So we have one disqualified supplier, right? So
correct.
if at all, if any user attempts to create a PO because he might not be knowing uh, that is disqualified or not, maybe by mistake if he
Yeah.
creates PO,
Got it,
will
got
it
it. So
pop?
what will happen is, I understand your question. So it will not pop you. So it will create a requisition you can able to create. You can get approval from the requisition. But before it converts into PO, it will stop. It will say that, hey, this vendor is not qualified, so I will not able to send this PO to the vendor over a network. So in SAP it might have created, in Ariba might it be created, but it will not send you. So vendor will not able to receive this purchase order. Then he cannot even give a order confirmation, or you will not even post goods receipt, or it will stuck in ordering status only. So that time the user or requester has to request vendor management team and saying that, hey, supplier is been qualified, so we are good to go with him, or there is a change in the process. Now the supplier is good. Whatever the reasons you want to unblock that supplier, you need to provide them. Then they will be coming to this page and they will be removing that disqualification. After that, they can able to then again they will be sorry again we can repush as an administrator, can repush that PO. Then PO will be sent to the supplier.
Okay, Sanjay. Thanks, sir.
You're welcome. Okay. Apart from this supplier, you will be, suppose whatever related to supplier content you want to see, then this is the tab. Like how you seeing contract separately, sourcing separately. This is the supplier, and you can see from when I selecting this, I will be seeing supplier performance project related informations. What all the reports are available and notification related to suppliers you can able to see here. And there is one more place where you are going to manage this will be SM administration. So SM admin and SM administration both are same. When your client takes suit integrated suit integrated environment, then he will be getting these two options. But clicking either on administration or admin remains same only. So when click on SM administration, so here you will be doing all supplier import and export activities. So the first one, data import and export. So where you are going to upload suppliers directly through a file. Suppliers from sourcing, supplier contact. So supplier contacts basically, we generally use suppliers and supplier contact, supplier qualification data. That much only. Others we generally don't do this. So suppliers. So when you click on supplier, you can click on sample file. Then the system will give you a sample file how the data should look like. So in that sample file, you will be filling those values, and by clicking on choose file, once the file is ready, choose file, and then you will be executing it. Once you did this, suppliers will be loaded into your Ariba solution. When you click on import summary, it will give you like how many previous history of the suppliers loaded via this administration. From here, you can also load supplier contacts. The contacts in supplier, it is not an integrated activity. It is not possible to fetch supplier contacts from your ERP system to Ariba system. So only way you want to add multiple contacts to your supplier database using this, or you have to go to supplier 360-degree profile by clicking on plus and adding the contact detail. Either that way or this way, you can able to import supplier contact. For example, download, it is self-driven. Download a simple file to see the format by just clicking on sample file. I'm clicking it.
Yes, and this is required when we are transferring the data from legacy system, right? Like not legacy, maybe from ERP, if at all. If any windows are created and we need to migrate it to Ariba, maybe this is one of the format, right?
Yes, this is
Sanjay?
basically for migration or for manually managing mass updating data. All these activities are performed through SM administration.
Normally
Even
we
in
go through new.
when you're loading the supplier database also in initial stage, like I mentioned yesterday, suppose you are already having a relationship with the supplier, so it is not fair to go back to them and asking them whether you are in the industry, what is your name and all. That will not make sense, and it is not more required also. You are doing the relationship for last couple of years. So for that cases, so when you are sending, this is the place where you are going to import the suppliers, and there itself in the qualification you can mention them whether he is a registered or a qualified or a preferred. So using that update, automatically the supplier will be loaded using preferred supplier or whatever the status which we are mentioning it. So when you go and see the 360-degree profile, the status will update it as a qualified, but you will not see the process template. Like in the previous example, when I'm trying to load a preferred supplier, it is not allowing to me because that was loaded through a data batch file or a data file.
Okay.
So this is the format which is giving me. I need to enter ERP vendor ID, supplier name, source system. Suppose you are having multiple system integrated. So from which system this data is coming? First name of the supplier,
Yes,
middle name,
Sanjay,
last name, country. Yeah.
we are unable to see that
Oh,
Excel
sorry.
sheet.
Yeah, sorry. I'll be sharing that. So what I loaded is just a supplier contact file. So in this case, I know vendor ID. See, this is the field which is showing ERP vendor, supplier name, source system, last name, telephone number, mobile contact, time zone, etc., etc. So here generally we'll be adding vendor, for example, Ariba vendor XYZ. So then in the contact page,
Here, ERP vendor is like we have the number convention in ERP system, right? Sanjay? Is it the serial number or we need to match
No,
it to
no.
Ariba like it's reactive?
Yeah.
How
So, yeah. So ERP vendor ID is basically when you have done an integration. So at the time of Ariba loading, so the system will not know whether Ariba supplier or not. So you will be having data from your vendor ID or the file is coming from your external system. That is the reason this vendor ID you need to enter. Suppose you created the data in Ariba only, then you will be seeing with the name called vendor ID 12345. But if it is coming from your ERP, generally you will be saving S00124. Maybe your vendors are created in this format, or mostly you will be having number in sequence only. So maybe 4 series vendors or 2 series vendor. In that case, you need to enter 20001, whatever the relevant vendor ID. If it is created only in Ariba, you will be finding VDR. If it is created from external, so external ID only you will be entering. You will be entering relevant information, and then in the contact field where you will be creating the email addresses of the supplier, and you need to mention whether it is a primary supplier or not. So this activity it will also help you in one more method. You can also export this data. Whatever currently available in your system, you can also export also by clicking on this task exported successfully. So the first one is a sample file. Second one is a data available in your existing data available in your Ariba system that I am exporting now.
Yeah, better we'll get the format how we can use it.
Yeah. I'll be showing both. I'll be showing. So now the file is ready. I will be downloading it. Contact export.csv. Once I open this. Okay, this is the file. So you can see this. So this is the vendor ID. As I mentioned, this is integrated ID. So you are getting external ERP ID. So whatever it is mentioned here. Also, you can see supplier name, source system. Wherever it is supplier management or spend management, you are seeing the number as VDR. Wherever integration has happened, then you will see sourcing system as SAP. Okay. Now, suppose you want to add one more contact. So what you will be doing by just clicking Control plus adding a row, copy this entire data and come here and update the fields. So first name, Ariba seller seller at gmail.com. English true. You need to have only one primary. So in this case, he is not the primary. I'm just removing it. Whether he is active or you are making active, whether that active contact or not. Suppose you found from the supplier and this supplier, that person has left, the salesman left, then you can remove this as a false. Then communication will not be sent to this particular contact. You can prepare this. Let's take our sample, Ariba seller.
So Sanjay, if at all,
yeah, tell me.
yeah, if at all, like sometimes if anything changes, like any field we are going to introduce new field, okay, so we will be adding that in vendor master type, whatever
Correct,
it is.
correct.
It's like newly one. So
Yeah,
instead of going like,
yeah,
yeah,
go
sorry,
ahead.
Sanjay. So maybe in running, like in running way, we will be having more than 2,000 suppliers, maybe within 2 years, and it is very difficult to go and update in each supplier so manually. So will this sheet is effective way to update that new field?
Yes, is
Sanjay?
correct. So you rightly catched it. Instead of entering those details one by one, this is the best way to load the contacts in directly.
Okay, Sanjay. So not only contacts, and we do have one more sheet, right? Previous to this, like primary details, vendor name, something like that. So if any change in that detail, maybe for example, we
No,
have 500
Ariba
suppliers.
is a dynamic. Suppose some new field is added, that field also will be shown here because you are exporting the data. So that means already you have established. So that field also will be visible in this file itself.
Yeah. So while exporting, that field to be added in the export file also, right, Sanjay?
Correct,
Because
correct. Yeah.
who will do that, Sanjay? Because that is
That
something
is a
different.
dynamic integration only. When you are adding a new field, so into the supply database, during that time you will be doing all those testing and validation. So then once you perform activity, maybe you at that time itself will be adding to the existing supplier, whatever that field is required. If it is not there also in the file, so when you are uploading also, you will be knowing the field name. Mostly whatever the fields created custom, they will be having CUS and field name, maybe reference ID or something like that. So you can add that field and enter those values also. Maybe you are maintaining some more system, SM MDG 123, master data governance, you are having this detail. So you want to give that reference, you can do that. When you are uploading it, so relevant records will get updated with this field value. So what you
How
need is
will
only the
we?
field name only.
Yes,
Tell
how
me.
we will how system will know that okay, this is a field and this
Hmm.
needs to be updated in this field. Like there is link
No,
right
no, you
in
are uploading,
between.
right? So you are saving this file. Now let me save this file.
Okay.
Contact exports, ESV. Okay, this field, if it is not there, it will throw an error. So I'm removing this for testing purpose. Let's go to supplier management. Actually, there is one topic on that. So I will just complete this process. I'll choose
Yes, yes,
file,
yes, sorry.
supplier contacts 849. Okay, now I have choose this one. Now I'm getting upload option. Upload. Waiting for response. It is validating it. Once it is done, we will verify that. So like what you are asking, there is a one master manage administration and the site manager data import. You see download data dictionary. So this topic we are not started. For your reference, I'm starting this. So this data download dictionary is it's a kind of a Ariba Bible. Whatever the configuration changes have happened in your system, that will get updated with the values. And this data dictionary is different from client to client and each vendor to or client to client. So why? Because it will be based on, for example, right at the moment you have only sourcing enabled. Later you are enabled contract and you do this contract activity. Then this file get updated with whatever the files used as part of sourcing and contract. And even in contract module, you have created 2 or 3 custom fields that will also get updated dynamically. So then you don't need to manually check or enter the details. So once I open data dictionary, it's opening. So when you are having a time, you can go through also. This is the data dictionary file. Okay. So go to the last page. Indexes. Here you can see all the relevant tasks available in your company master. Okay. Suppose you want to do, let's select taxes you were asking, right?
Yes.
So nothing is there for taxes. Okay. For country specific. Let's see. So this is export. Export is simply whatever in the current system data you want to export, you will be doing that export data. The same way import will be import country specific tax field translation and specific tax fields. Translation is suppose the company is using multiple languages, maybe Chinese and Japanese language. If you want to provide values, whatever you're entering that has to be visible, you will be using the translation. Otherwise, we'll be selecting the English one, specific tax fields. So by selecting that, it will take you to the sheet. It will tell you what is the task name. Like when I'm doing this, you see the supplier contact.csv. That is what the name of the task description. SAP tax metadata information which help us to decide the applicable taxes for a country and organization flag. And you can see this is what organization. You are further filtering country as well as organization also. SAP tax metadata.csv. This is the file name, and it will give you what are the column names: country code, IS organization, registration pattern, sample format, tax code, etc. And new file. So this is you can ignore. When Ariba doing a development, they have added this one, but most of the cases it is same replication only. That is for their internal. So this is the field column name and this is the field name. So again, this is again as per Ariba. So we are okay with this. And it will give you what is the description of that particular column, country code, internal code for a country. What is the data type it is using? String length. So whenever you are entering a country code, it has to be 2 digits only. Country code must match unique value of Ariba basic core country defined in country full integration code. That means it is also telling you, you cannot add like whatever the data you're entering that is existing in your country defined in the country full integration event. So whenever it is doing country, that it has to require. Whether that field is compulsory or not, it is deciding in the required column. So if it is false, then you don't need to enter value, but you can directly enter other value. Wherever true, then that field has to be entered. Alone null. So whether you can in this field, whether you can accept 0 values, no values, it is saying also. If it is allowing null, you can proceed with null. So
it's like we're directly checking whatever the form we have that for that particular country, and we are writing these parameters. I mean, we are modifying these parameters in this Excel, right?
correct. So you'll be having a country code, region pattern, what is the format. Then based on this, it will take the relevant, it will apply the relevant. Are you restricting the selection of tax codes based on the country codes?
Yes,
and this is that you will be having all the related tasks applicable for your company, which integration task happened, integration task in your right click, go to the last page. So when you are having a time, you can look at, so what is the file, what is the required data and all, you can also find. So even country codes. So you can see the country as for the first one itself, it is there.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I think we are good to, let me go back to the SM administration. Let's see whether whatever I have done has been added or not. I can click either admin or administration.
Yes, sir.
Supplier contact. So for you, I've shown you data dictionary, right? We went to manage administration, and on the left-hand side, we're seeing the task. Whatever related to supply data, this is the method. So you either you can do there. If it is not, mostly you have to manage in this direction, like SM administration, which is specifically related to supplier management. Supplier contacts, import summary. Today, success. Is it correct? Yes. If there are errors, you can view it, or errors are success means it is done and 2 has been updated. Let's go and see that the vendor, whether the supplier contact which I have added into the.
There won't be any files under like after job has run. Maybe this is the updated. Maybe this is the maybe
No.
supplier that has been added.
Sorry, I am not clear on you.
So what happened is like whenever we are like we updated now, right? Like we imported the Excel sheet with a new field. So whenever the job got successful, that won't show any file OT saying this has been updated, maybe this vendor has been updated with this information. Any information it will show after job
Like
was
you're
shown.
asking for a notifications.
Yeah, notification maybe after job run, maybe we have one week,
Yes,
like we have
yes,
this.
we can schedule this notification. There is even if someone is doing this activity, you want to get notified also, you can do this notification. There is a option here in manage notification. Whenever supply data is added, you want to receive a notification. Then you will be receiving that notification. So Ariba seller, I'm opening the supplier and I will be seeing. I should be seeing one more contact added in the profile. So view supplier profile. So supplier contacts. Now you can see this was I have added seller Ariba seller 2. And when I mention preferred, what is this
Primary
one?
contact.
Primary contact.
Primary
That's why it is
contact.
showing as star. Yeah, I think
Yes,
so.
yes, yes.
Okay, instead of adding here, you can directly do the same way. You can do many activities in your SM administration without doing this like process. You want to upload directly some suppliers into this one. You can use this method to bring in your existing supplier relationship here by going to here. Where is this? Preferred supplier, supplier qualification data. Same way, sample file. This will just give you column headers only. Export will give you current data. So that is easy for you to look at it, what is the current data and add in the values. Once you you can download the arrow which will show. Once it is done, choose the file and export. Then the same supplier qualification data will get updated without doing process activity through user interface.
Yes.